Take a tie.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
No, it's okay.
Do you want me to introduce you?
Hi, everyone. I'm David. That's good enough.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. The name of your company, please.
Okay. I'm a co-founder and CTO at GreenSQL, where we do database security, actually. And I'm not going to sell you database security products now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So, first of all, when I was listening to Itai's great lecture, I think that one of the things that popped up in my mind that in about 1992, when I joined the internet, I remember I've seen a video broadcast in the Israeli news. And they're actually talking about the internet. And when they mentioned the internet, they said you can find how to make drugs. You can find where to buy weapons. And the internet back then was the darknet of everyone else. Because you couldn't go to a library and actually buy a drug recipe. But on the internet, you can find it. And that made it, it's a little short for me. Let's try. And so back then, the internet was sort of the darknet of this time. So I totally agree with what, just as Itai just mentioned it, darknets and any form of privately and secured and anonymity networks will never die. It will actually just increase once we get everything online. And we're just starting to touch what's called the Internet of Things, where each and every device that we own, doesn't matter if it's our air conditioning system or our TV, is connected online. So the darknet is just going to evolve. One of the things that I use to give lectures every now and then, but this slide really made me laugh. This is actually the FBI. You can find online updates from the FBI website. And you can see that in 2007 already, this was actually the fourth heist since 2006, that they took down additional botnet network. So this is not something new. This is a lot of people hear about darknet and what's available there. I think that this is a very big deal for each and every, almost each and every, I guess, federal organization worldwide about dealing with the information that is available on those networks and what exactly it's being used. So I'm going to take it a little bit higher, discussing about what I just mentioned. So these are just a few highlights of the passing few years about the big organization. And some of them spent a lot of money about information security. Some of them got some of the probably most paid professionals when it comes to cybersecurity. But in those organizations, they are suffering breaches on a daily basis. So the usage and the usability of tools and networking that provide you the option to be undetected, to communicate with hosts, internal and outside your network, is actually tools of the trade. Today, you will not find even one malware or one Trojan horse that doesn't use this kind of, or I2P or Tor network. Unlike what just Itai said, the Tor is being actually exploited really well by very high-end researchers that are finding almost on a daily basis new approaches how to map the Tor network, how to find the sources that use it. So, and there was a big deal that wasn't really published about a new malware that was infected inside of one of the federal organizations in the United States. And it was actually connecting using Tor and being managed using Tor. And they found out who used it, actually in a day. So let's just continue. I think one of the main challenges when we're talking about anonymity is about not only detecting who is the initiator, but trying to map the full usability and to understand the source information of the users. And when we take a look about, I think a lot of people talk about cybersecurity, and I think we can divide it to two main categories about the threat actors and the threat vectors. Threat actors meaning who initiated the attack, who actually decided that he wants to attack or to successfully initiate an attack on a specific organization or on a specific user. And the threat vector, which exact infrastructure and access layer have they decided to use in order to make it successful. So doesn't matter, by the way, which of those I'm going to use and who is the source initiator of this kind of an attack. They're using a sort of a non-identified anonymous network in order to execute those kind of things. If you remember this list, okay, most of them were not even published who did that. About 90%, no one even found who actually generated those attacks and who stole this information. You just found the little pieces of it for sale on Darknet, on someone Pastebin, and some on other dump sites. So this is a tools of the trade. That's what I'm trying to say. So going forward, how come it's such a big issue? How come, by the way, people are able to do that? So going backwards and thinking about the Internet Protocol, the DARPA, one of the biggest highlights of DARPA research, when we're taking a look at the IP protocol, and this is a little bit low level, but bear with me, this is what we're all using as an access communication layer. It was published in 1981. There's no serious changes since then. When people have designed the Internet Protocol, what we all use on a daily basis, endless amount, security wasn't actually taken into consideration. There have been some extension in 1988, like the IPsec, ESP protocol, additional extension, but the true basis is the OSI layer that have no integrity and that have no comparison between the different layers that transport the communication. So Internet Protocol and Internet usability by nature is not secured. This is something that we many times forget, and we're talking about, yeah, we use SSL. So what? It doesn't mean that you're secure. You're passing through Tor. Okay, that's of course much better than using SSL for your connectivity, but that doesn't mean you're secure. Trying to see the big picture. And once we are using, we are providing a service, and it doesn't matter, by the way, which service, even just a VPN access to our organization, or we are providing the option to access any kind of a portal or a web service or a form. We have to try and to analyze the breadcrumbs that leads to understanding the specific source that reaches this information. And which exactly breadcrumbs we actually see besides the basic stuff of IP addresses and the user agent and cookies. The most important part that actually just a few solutions are analyzing it, it's the behavioral usage. What exactly the user is trying to do. So he's been authenticated and he's using a formal access layer that allowing him to access the information. But what exactly is he doing inside my service, my web? And if he's just downloading a file, how come he's downloading now 200 files? And even though I can see, and this is, by the way, regarding anonymity, is the thing that even inside our network, if we see a trusted user, how can we really tell if it's trusted? For example, we see our DBA or our IT manager generating a command to get information locally inside the network. So we take it as almost as granted that it's okay. But the thing is, if his PC was compromised and someone is just using his credentials in order to initiate this kind of command in order to retrieve information, so it's not even our DBA or IT manager or whatever. So in the internet world, when we're talking about how come people are using anonymity and how come it's been accepted by any form, not just about publishing information in Darknet or publishing files or doxing or whatever people are interested in publishing, Itai really got a thing to pedophiles, so I'm not going to ask. But not funny. And if people are actually able to use their identity without any trust measurement and without any enforcement of AAA, authentication, accounting, and authorization, so the internet actually is pretty open, even though we think we're securing anything. So there's a lot of anonymity services that you can buy for a few dollars and start using them almost on a daily basis. For example, Hide My Ass is really nice. They got sort of an LTTP tunnel that provides you the option, but you can just buy a few dollars a month and use anonymity services that are much more, let's say, unfamiliar like Tor. Keep in mind, any communication, any software, any service, any protocol that is public, a lot of people spend a lot of money and a lot of time researching how to exploit it. So even though you've been secured for a week, for a month, for a year, you're not anymore. So at the moment that it becomes a public domain and publicly available, it's already less secure. And some of those, by the way, are investing a lot of time and a lot of money in order to update their kind of transport layer almost on a daily basis. So search engine, we've seen several search engines on Darknet. Some of them are really poor, some of them are better, but let's use actually the public searches and what exactly can we get from searches. Once I would like to get information from a specific location, from a specific organization, I'm not going to scan it by myself. I'm going to use services that scan it almost on a daily basis. You know what's Google doing? Google running about 750 million searches an hour. And they have access and they're mapping almost everything. So why exactly should I start accessing by myself if I can use those services? And Shodan, I don't know if any one of you knows Shodan as a service, of course, you can just buy for a few dollars. Shodan is searching and storing information of any service available online. Which means if today I would like to generate an attack on any VoIP phone of Alcatel available, I don't need to start search for them. With Shodan, I can get the full versions, I can get the full IP addresses, the full reachability, and they got a really nice API, by the way, so you can write your own code to not only to detect the exact version running on those devices, but also to start exploiting them automatically without even scanning and getting and revealing yourself. So there are additional services, by the way, on Darknet that sell this information, but often more interesting services. For example, one of the things I've seen, all the CyberArk safes IP addresses. Okay, this is interesting. Think about it, how many banks and how many financial organizations are passing really sensitive information between CyberArk virtual safes. And someone is now have mapped about 3,500 different CyberArk safes online that you can buy those addresses and start researching. How can you exploit those safes that store the most sensitive information? So this is just the beginning, and one of the things that really have took down anonymity is actually social media. So you can go to multiple websites and try to authenticate, and they will require you to authenticate with Facebook. Not because only it's because easy, it's because they want to know who really you are. So this is probably not new news to most of you, but Facebook are bragging they got about almost 1.1 billion users. About 45% of them are not really real, okay, just that you know. And those numbers are actually been published by a few different researchers, and they found out a few Chinese professionals that have 100,000 accounts on Facebook. Okay, so they're manipulating everything. So if you see a lot of likes, a lot of shares, a lot of whatever, everything is automated and everything is being cooked. It's not the reality. And Facebook now have just realized that, listen, this is too much non-anonymous usage. And they're now starting to copycat, secret, and whisper about publicly publishing information in a real anonymous way and not even storing the way that this information was revealed and shared. So it's going forward. But taking it one step forward, you won't believe which information you'll find on dump sites. A lot of the information security companies that search for your sensitive data located in your, for example, customer information are automatically, yes, 3 hours? Yeah, of course. And for example, they're trying to map and trying to see when your customer information was actually published on a dump site. Those are just a few. There's some really nice dump site on the darknet, by the way, that you just can find there some crazy shit. And when it comes to dump site, the most interesting thing is that today, if you like to see a attacked organization, specifically Zone H, for example, you're able to find it about weeks and sometimes months before the information will be published. So also a lot of researchers are mapping and scanning endlessly those dump sites regarding to see something new. And this brings us, I got just 2 minutes, so I'm going to pass quickly, more quickly. The option about knowing and sharing the information using honeypots. Honeypots was a project actually in 1999, a really nice open source project about opening regular ports in order to see if someone tried to scan you. So honeypots is going forward now, and now people are trying to listen and to see if someone is trying to map them. If a new malware or a new a worm is trying to map your resources, you'll see it right away. Information sources are endless, a lot of hacker news, a lot of first hack news, and so on and so on. The biggest breaches, the biggest data breaches, and there's a really interesting intelligence alliance. So not only that you'll know if a specific source is not real, you'll be able to share it. So the ISAC, the financial services, is doing a sort of consortium where they share this information on an hourly basis. So you're able to see if some user or some source that is using your services is actually not real. So thank you very much. Have a great event.